there are three things. There are three terminologies that we should know. First one is rules. These are the restrictions that we must fulfill to satisfy a business requirement. Here we will write our rules and restrictions, and then these rules are assigned to the strategies. And strategies are nothing but your ordered sequence of rules, and the system will execute the rules in that manner in which it is written in the strategy. Also, there is a partial success flag, and if it is enabled, so system will make sure that even if the partial allocation is done through a
I think
rule.
you can quickly rush through this. Okay. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
quickly go to the screen itself and show them.
yeah. And then we have the rules workbench where the rules and strategies are directly assigned. So the first one being the rules. Okay, so if you see, there is the first tab that is called type.
Yeah. See how it works is it's all in the rules workbench. So let me see. First is the rules. Then we have strategies. Okay, then we have the rules workbench. So this engine is being called while doing any put away or see. There are various processes where based on which these the steps are called. For okay, so this is the one, two, three. This is the hierarchy in which it will be called. So three being the three takes the precedence. So once whenever you do an pick or put away. So what system does is first it will check the rules workbench. Okay, from the rules workbench it will pick the strategies. Okay, and start executing the strategies in the order that is mentioned in the rules workbench. For example, what rules workbench will have is it will have some strategies. Okay, so rules workbench will have strategies and the mode of execution. So one, two, three. So it will be like something like strategy one, strategy two, or strategy three. So in this hierarchy, system will start executing the strategies once you do a pick release, okay, or when we do a put away. So this is how the system works, okay, for each of the parameters. So the strategy first gets called. So there is one more additional feature in here wherein you can also directly execute a rule, okay, in R12. So that is one of the features, because earlier every rule required mapping to a strategy. Now they have given additional feature also wherein you can all directly map the rules also to the rules workbench. Okay, so maybe if in this order it will get executed. So why strategy means in strategy, what is the next level of strategy is, for example, in strategy you can have a combination of multiple rules. Okay, so you can have you can have rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. So multiple rules you can have it in a strategy. So that is and the way of execution, so that I think Anshuman will cover. So like you can have separate rule 1, rule 2, rule 3 to be executed in a strategy, okay, based on an item type or condition. So in the rules workbench also we can give some parameters, additional parameters, and we directly map a strategy. Now we also have a flexibility of directly mapping a rule. Okay, so these two things can be done. Under in strategy you can have multiple rules. Okay, so within rules you have the various allocation conditions, how you are going to pick up a particular work, means particular on hand, and then how you are going to assign a sales order. Okay, sales order, or how you are going to do a put away or cost group assignment. As we go by we can see, first he is trying to cover pick. Okay, so as he is trying to cover, it will be like what kind of orders, what kind of on hand you are going to allocate. Okay, how you are going to do a sequencing of the on hand. So that is what we are trying to look at it. Okay, so one more thing is in here, every rule id, okay, every rule id will become a package. Okay, so it will become an SQL PLSQL package in the backend. So after we define a rule, we have to generate the rules, because that will become a separate package. So each package will get executed. It is like a SQL package. So whenever we give a constant value, like this is what it means, that in the package it starts with the select. Okay, select whatever, if sub inventory equal to a particular constant value, then system will try to validate against that particular constant value. So it becomes like an SQL package query. Okay, each rule becomes a separate package.
Okay, so currently we will discuss about a pick rule. Okay, so we will see how we are writing a pick rule, which will be used to allocate inventory against a sales order or an outbound order. Okay, so from the type we have selected the pick. Okay, and the name you can give as per your desired. So I can give some name. Let me say I will give name uh, FG each pick. Okay, and description also I can just copy and paste over here. Now if you see, we have given the name and description, and we have a quantity function over here. Okay, so what is this quantity function, and what does it do? Okay, so mostly picking and put away rules will have this quantity function, but for picking rules there is only one available quantity function, and it is automatically defaulting in this window, and it is not editable. Okay, so what does this function do? This determines how the rule engine calculates availability of items or of locators. So for picking, if material is calculated by the transactable quantity, so which considers the, like, it will check if there are any other reservations. So this quantity function will make sure that only those quantities are available which are available to transact. But we need not to worry for pick, because this is the only default quantity function that will already be defaulted here. Okay, then comes the allocation mode. Okay, so if you see the allocation mode, LOV, we will have a, 4 5 list of values here. Okay, allocate entire LPN only, allocate LPN and lose, no LPN allocation, strict PQM, no, all those things. So what does allocation mode do? So we will have picking rules will only have this allocation mode, and this mode, it what it does, it controls several different ways in which the system can allocate the material. Okay, so we can select the correct allocation mode as per our business requirement to make the best use of inventory available in our warehouse, and we know which one of them is packed or which one of them is just unpacked and stored, right? So based on that we can use all these things. For example, if you use allocate entire LPN only, okay, so it will allocate only if the quantity entire quantity is packed in an LPN, then only this uh, particular rule will uh, give a return value, and it will allocate some material against the particular sales order. And if you select allocate LPN and loose, so it will consider packed as well as unpacked or loose materials equally. Okay, so, and if no LPN allocation is there, so in this allocation mode, the rules engine, it will consider loose and packed materials equally, and allocation is not made to the LPN level, so rule will ignore the LPN. Okay, now next comes the no allocation, prioritize pick UM. So here packed and loose material are considered equally, but the rules engine does not make allocations at LPN level, and but it prioritizes the pick UM above the sort criteria. And then strict pick UM, like in case of case
Sorry,
picking.
Anshuman, what is the priority it mentioned? It prioritizes UAM over sort criteria means?
Okay, so here if you see we have sort criteria, right, in the
Right,
second
right.
tab. So we will
Uh,
come to that.
okay,
So it will prioritize the UOM, like UM item UM over the
hmm.
sort criteria.
Okay.
Okay, and then strict pick UM is nothing but like suppose you want to honor case picking, so you can use this strict pick UOM. So here what it will do is it will only strictly consider the UM allocations only.
Okay.
Hope it's clear. Yeah. So for now, we will use allocate LPN and lose because
Oh,
we
see,
have
minute.
packed as well as.
So, see, this is the higher first level of allocation, wherein see first the select of one hand will based on this parameter. Okay. So subsequently, what will happen is first you have to have a the criteria based in which you can, so it's just a select query, right? It is something you're going to pull the data from the application on hand from the application. So that's why the quantity function for pick is always stock on hand, because you cannot
Okay.
allocate the stock which is already allocated to some other order. Okay, only those unallocated stock we have to consider first. So that becomes the first function. Then with that on hand, so you can now select the allocation mode, how you want to allocate. So whatever is the system will check the sale order, based on which system will pick the whatever is the corresponding items and will try to map. Okay, it will do that query from the existing on hand inventory on hand based on this allocation mode. So first set will run this, then you have the restrictions. So it starts restricting after you fetch the on hand. If it is a PQM which is very standard, you want the PQM to be standardized and fetched only based on that, and you will select the allocation mode as a confirm PQM. Okay, if you want to allocate both LPN and loose quantity, then you have the LPN, allocate LPN and loose quantity. So if it is strictly LPN, then only if it is LPNized, this rule will get executed. Okay, so we can have multiple rules. One just only for first if as a preference you can just tell execute only this rule. Okay, with full LPN only. Okay, only if it fails, you execute the next rule which has only both allocate LPN and loose. So that can be defined in the hierarchy of a strategy. Okay, so first preference you give that it only selects only full LPNs. Second condition you can give, second rule, one more new rule, rule 2 you can define, which you have an allocation board as both allocate LPN and loose. So first system will try to allocate from that rule, where if full LPNs are there, it will try to allocate the full LPNs. If it fails, okay, if there is no full LPN, then it get executed to the second rule. Okay, so within that strategy for a particular customer or item type, the way we define in rules workbench, it can get executed in the hierarchy. Okay, like sequential, not hierarchy, in the sequential way. Okay, so that's what is the first is the allocation mode, then comes the restrictions. So restrictions are whatever objects are being exposed for the WMS rules. Okay, it is based on again the type what we select. For pick, the restrictions will be differing because we have different tables altogether. For cost group we have different tables. So based on the type you select, the restriction and its corresponding object will vary. Okay, so if you select a label, then the whatever is label, whatever label parameters are exposed. Okay, see, not all tables are exposed to WMS rules engine. Okay, so this is a specific set of tables that are exposed. If you want more tables, that is if you want something out of what the parameters that is exposed, that's when we go for a custom pub. Okay, even some runtime conditions, if you want to execute, we go for a custom pub.
Okay. So we'll quickly write a small restriction for this rule, and a very basic one. So first we have given a sequence, okay, and then we will take the first object over here. So for this, for the pick rule, we are using the source subinventory, because the condition what we want to fulfill right now is we want the items to be allocated from the each subinventory. So we have each subinventory defined, where which is a locator control subinventory, and we have items present over there which are allocatable. So I want that this rule considers the each subinventory for allocation of materials. So I'll consider the source subinventory, and I will take the parameter as subinventory name. So if you want to see the parameters, it has a lot of parameters over here. So for out of which I will consider the subinventory name, and I will take the operator equal to, because I want the subinventory name to be each. So the object that I can take here is constant character, because every time it has to be each only. And then I will give my parameter value. This is the name of the subinventory. Okay. So this is a very basic rule that we have written. So what this rule is going to do is this rule will consider allocating materials from each subinventory. And it will consider the allocate LPN and loose. Either it is pack in LPN or it is loose. Both will be considered. and it will only consider the allocatable available to transact quantities. So once we
So,
enable this, yeah.
question here, Ranshami. Now, say for example, let's take this example only where you said allocate LPN and loose. That means it will consider both LPN as well as loose.
Yes.
Okay. Now, say for example, I've got sub inventory each. I have a
Hmm.
particular item which say loose. I've got three quantity and LPN I've got six.
Hmm.
Okay, and my sales order has got five quantity now.
Okay.
So where will it pick up from? It will pick up from the LPN.
It will
No, that
consider
is based
both.
on no, that is both. Again, it is based on the sort criteria which we are going to give. Okay, if you are going to give the receipt
Okay.
date, okay, this next is the sort criteria. Okay, so if you are going to give some
Okay.
LPN number or any criteria, see once you get the full output, right? For example, all eligible LPNs, okay, LPNs and loose quantity for this item for in each where sub inventory, you have say item first item is LPN, second item is again maybe six quantity can be subdivided into two LPNs each and then two loose quantity. Okay, so LPN 1, 2, and loose quantity. For example, if at all it is this one, say based on the receipt date, you say that the sort criteria is receipt date, so it will check which is the first receipt date. Okay, so based on that, it will sort the LPNs, and based on that sort, it will give. And in case you are not giving any sort criteria, what system will do is based on the SQL default criteria, right? How we are not giving any sort. So based on whatever is the generic SQL sort that is coming out, it will directly allocate the first value, first two values. It could be LPNs or it could be loose quantity. Okay, so
That's
sort
understood,
criteria.
Sudha. My question, so what I'm trying to understand is, say for example, my sales order has got quantity five,
Hmm,
and I have got an LPN which has got quantity six.
correct.
And say for example, there's no loose items at all. There's only one LPN available in my on and stock with six quantity. So system will
Right.
suggest the LPN. So that means I need to open the LPN and pick up the
Yes, it
partial
will. You
quantity.
have to open the LPN. Yes, system will suggest the LPN for that allocated quantity. For six, you have
Okay.
it will allocate only five. Okay, when you are doing that picking, right? So that is the time it will ask you to generate a new transfer LPN.
Okay.
Okay, so there is
Okay.
a transfer LPN wherein if at all it is partially allocated, one LPN is partially allocated, which means you have to put it in another box. Okay, this one, whichever you're saying, so it is six total and one is remaining. Okay, that one remaining will go into the old box itself. The five that you are
Understood.
picking up, you have to create a new LPN, which will be a transfer
Okay.
LPN. That will happen in
Okay.
during the pick
Second,
task.
so
Okay,
LP 9, 6 and what loose.
Sorry?
LP 9, 6,
Huh.
four loose, so
Huh.
don't pin on it.
Huh.
So it will say pick 6 from
From
LP
there
and
and the
4
loose
loose.
from four. That is again depending on the sort criteria. Yeah, understood,
right.
Salwa. This is what I want to understand. So you have a transfer LPN where you need to open the LPN, pick up the five, and the remaining will remain in the same LPN.
Correct. That see that kind of that activity will happen when you do a pick. Okay,
Got it.
so this is only an allocation. So it will allocate the full LPN. So, but if you're going to say it should be like only LPN, and if you have only five quantity, okay, for example, only four quantity as an LPN, it won't allocate because the complete quantity is not satisfied. So we can define such rules also. Okay.
Okay.
Only LP.
If you say
For
only
full
LPN,
LPN,
understood.
see, full LPN is not getting satisfied. Only full LPN, one LPN is there. It's not getting satisfied. We can just tell whether it is in the rules. We can define it. It gets back ordered. Okay, even if the quantity is partially there. Okay,
Understood.
so that kind of activity can be established using this. Yeah,
Okay.
this is one thing. Then you have see one open curse and closed the. Can you show that
Yeah,
before
brackets.
the highlight, Anshuman? This
Which one?
Brackets, right?
brackets. Yeah, this open bracket and close bracket.
Yeah.
See what happens is within this rule also it will get executed as a package. Like for example, after supplementary, if you're saying 10, 20, 30, you can open that value and close it. Okay. Yeah, no, 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 this one after the sequence, what
Oh,
is this?
this
Oh,
here, this
bracket.
one, right?
Yeah, bracket. Open bracket and close
Hmm.
bracket. So that
Yeah.
open bracket and close bracket will get executed
Hmm.
as single function. Okay, single action. Okay,
Mhm.
so it will validate within the that after each, right? If you have two or three attributes to be validated, and then pass to the next value. So just to imagine as an SQL statement, it's
Okay.
just an SQL statement which we are arriving at the in the front end.
Yeah.
Okay, so that gets achieved by having the open bracket and close bracket. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can proceed.
Okay. Now suppose we want to write some sort criteria. So sort criteria, uh, what it will do, it will determine which specific on-hand quantity of this that item should be selected for allocation among all the materials that is present in the locators. Okay. So here, if we want to define the sort criteria, let us say we will select stock on hand. Okay. So currently, what I am planning to do is I want to go by receipt date. So it will be like FIFO. So whatever has been received first should be allocated first. So I will select the stock on hand and parameter. I will select the receipt date. Okay, and the order is ascending. So when receipt date ascending, the stock hand is getting allocated. So it's like the FIFO, first in, first out.
So this FIFO will work even if the item is not serial controlled and lot controlled.
Yes, it is based on the receipt date, the item whenever it has been received in the inventory.
Yeah. I know, but physically I will not know. Only the system you are doing it. Yeah, that's what. Okay. Okay. Okay, Anshul.
Yeah,
Yeah,
physically we might not know, but system level you have all the transaction, the MTL transactions table, right? So you have the dates in which it
Okay.
has come in. So based on that, it will allocate. Okay.
Yeah.
So system wise, you know. So herein again, any custom parameter you want on Mentor will show that. So if you want any custom attribute or something, we can select that particular object. Okay, like attribute 14 or 16, which you have used as a DFF value. So all those also you can include in like one or two sort criteria. Okay, after the
Okay.
transaction, this again the sort will happen based on the sequence that you are providing. Okay, the first sort will happen this, the next. So that's how the hierarchy it will follow. So the sequence
Yeah.
plays a key role here. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, and then we have the consistency. So uh, what it will do is they are used to indicate some characteristics that must be identical across all allocations. So if you want the allocations to be consistent for some supplementary or locator or against some LPN, okay, then you can select license plate number, and you can give the parameter name as that particular LPN number, and likewise. So this is what consistency means. So all picking rules will have this consistency requirements, and if we want, we can enable that.
No, this
No,
is
I,
again the
yeah.
selection. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Alva.
Yeah. So the selection, once you do the selection, you now have sequenced it. Okay. So after you sequence it, we have to see the consistency what it has. For example, if the LPNs are, if you keep the consistency as a lot and a lot number or something, which means it always checks that it's all in the same lot number. Okay, all the LPNs that are allocated are same. If you want to particular grade, okay, for example, only A grade items to be allocated. So you can select the lot and select a grade, and you want you so such that that particular value, whatever LPNs or loose quantity are picked, system will see that that picking is with this consistency. This particular value
Okay.
you are selecting. Okay, so that is the consistency logic. So all that is
Okay.
selected, you should have this grade. That's it. So the lot grade value, whatever value we are giving or lot grade parameter, that consistency system will take it. Okay,
Okay.
it should be of the same value. Yeah.
Okay. So currently for
Cool.
our rule, we don't want to define any consistency. We just
That's
want to
fine.
go with the restrictions and sort criteria.
Yeah.
So when I enable this rule, so now my rule is active, and it is ready to be assigned to a strategy or directly to a workbench.
Okay.
Additionally, if I want to add some more restrictions in the form of expression, then I can add one more line over here, and I will give the logical expression and or based on my needs. Okay, because suppose I want to go in a bit more detail, and I want to go in. I want to select these uh, locator also. Okay,
Mhm.
so what I'll do is I'm just trying to write one more line of restriction. Okay, so
It need not be a locator or the level we are saying. It could be any DFF value or any expression conditions, whatever you
yes.
want to do, have to select.
Okay.
Okay, so
If you-
and yeah.
Yeah, please, Sela.
Okay. So this is and or the basic conditions that we do use for any this SQL statement. Okay. So this becomes a package once we execute. So that becomes like you write it as a first level and then you put an and or you open uh, this brackets. Okay. So the how you open and close a bracket for few rules to get executed together. So in the same model, it will get executed. If you say or, it is an or query, either or conditions will get executed. So it's all in the similar fashion of an SQL statement. The entire combination works. Okay, now he's trying to give one more thing and. So if it's and means it is this way around. Or if he's going to give or and say another sub inventory, which means it could be in each sub inventory or it could be in some other X sub inventory. Okay, it's a very either or condition and the SQL PL statement, right? So that's how it works. Similarly, next level is we can go by expression, which also he will show, but this is additional one more condition he's trying to add as an add. Okay. And
Yeah.
okay,
So
I think he's trying to add as a expression. Yeah, yeah. So expression is an predefined PL extension that we can use.
mhm.
Okay, so this is to an extent the first level of customization apart from what we have as a parameter. Okay, you write a
Mm.
mini expression SQL select statement, and in that expression you put that. So all
Okay.
locators, if you have some parameters for the locator, or you want to have some other conditions which you are not able to fetch that parameter, I think by this expression you can select that and add it. So system will also validate that expression. Okay, as an it's a mini PLSQL statement itself. We'll write and place it here. Yeah.
yeah, so I have an expression with me. So let me try to add it in our rule. So I have just added this expression, select lot number, and it has some of the more restrictions in the form of PL SQL. So now I have added an expression which is a SQL written over here, which will identify the source locator as well from each sub inventory. Now when
Okay.
I save it and enable it, okay, you see the package for this, please take the restrictions for possible syntax errors, it says. So somewhere this must have not been written correctly. So let me check. Yeah, we have to remove this. Yeah, now it's enabled. We had a semicolon over there, so it was not allowing us to do that.
So,
So
Anshuman,
now,
here,
hmm,
the query
yes.
that you've written, is it
Hmm.
referring to the previous value each anywhere?
No, it is going to select, okay, in the runtime, the from the MOQD, like from the on hand available quantity,
So in the on hand, after selecting
and
the
it is,
supplementary, it will include this locators. That's what he's asking. And it's a runtime query, select query, right? For each condition. Okay.
yeah, and I have not like written this specific to our rule. It's just taken from somewhere, so just to demonstrate for demonstration purpose.
Got it. Okay. Now, if I don't specify, say for example, I'm just writing a very simple quick rule where I'm saying my source of inventory should be each, and I'm not
Mhm.
specifying anything else. So system
Yes.
will automatically pick up the quantity from whichever locator the item is available, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, right.
yes,
Okay. So
and
if I
based
want
on
to
the sort
restrict
criteria
more,
that we given.
if I want
Hmm.
only a certain locators, then getting into these details of expressions and other things.
Yes, yes.
Even expressions, you need not go like that. Okay. See, this expression is lot number level expression. I think instead of locator, you should have put a lot. Okay. Lot number as an input
Yeah, yeah,
criteria.
got it.
Hmm, hmm,
So he
hmm,
has
hmm.
put it wrongly as in lot select lot number. But see, if it is so locator, then the out will be a locator ID. Okay, which you will write as an expression. That query should give the locator ID, that source locator as an out. Okay, the end, the expression should be like that. Okay, wherein you see again, you might have to write an expression only if you have say hundreds of locator. Okay, it's
Got it.
not that one or two locators you want to say. You can just add a source locator and you can put it as a constant character and you can close it. Okay, no need of writing an expression. Only if you have some conditional based wherein you are not able to achieve it. So that is when you write that particular expression. Okay, I hope I clarified.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh? Okay, so that's when see expression comes into play. It's just an add-on to what you can't achieve immediately as an parameter. Okay, so that's when you don't want to. So many a times, just to instead of doing individual setups because it again becomes complex for any further changes. So every time you disable, enable, you if it is having a strategy, okay, then rules workbench you have to disable everything to enable a rule. It's not a straightforward. So you have to enable this rule, then if you have assigned a strategy to it, you have to then disable that rule, and again in the rules workbench you have to disable. So any minor modifications you have to do every time this steps hierarchy. So in the rules workbench you have to disable, then in the strategy you have to disable, then the corresponding rule you want to alter you have to disable. Okay, so just to for maintenance purpose and some purpose people go for this particular expression. Okay, when it is the numbers are more or something like that, so that is
Yeah.
when they use this. Yeah,
Got
I
it.
think you can go on.
Yeah, so I'll remove this for now, and we'll just go with the sequence number 10. Okay, I'll just select any one. Erase it. Okay, so I've saved it and now enabled it. Okay, so now our rule is written and it's ready to be assigned to a strategy or a workbench. So what we'll do is we'll go to strategies and we'll create one strategy now, which will be a pick strategy, and we can give our desired name over here like fg pick strategy. And we can select the over allocation mode and tolerance value over here. Okay, and if you see we have the rules, we can assign our rule over here. So the rule name was fg pick, so it has taken fg each pick, and date type we need to give as always. And if we have any other such rule, we can use that rule as well. Okay, so suppose we have two, three, four
You can define
such
one more
rules.
supplementary,
Mhm.
and you can show.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, understood,
let me.
Anshul. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Then I think fine. You can go on.
Yeah, so here you see this partial success allowed flag, right? So this flag, what it will do is, even suppose you have two rules over here, suppose through this particular rule it is able to allocate partial quantity also, then it will consider this rule. Okay,
Okay. So the
let me just
remaining
check.
will get backordered. Line will get split and backordered for other
Yeah,
strategies.
back ordered, and if there is another rule written over in like sequence
And
number
another rule,
20,
it will be done.
it will go to that and try to
Hey,
allocate
it
to
is
that.
partial success allowed is even if it is success, then the next rule get executed. See what is the
Okay.
purpose is, for example, you have on hand, that on hand is not completely successful using that first rule. Okay. So now you have mentioned that as each has only four quantities, but your sales order is six quantity. Okay. If you are not clicking partial success allowed, which means that first rule itself is not a success. Okay. System will come out of this particular strategy itself. It will go to the next strategy. Okay. But even if you have a second rule, it won't execute. But if it is partial success allowed, yes, what it will do is it will allocate four from each. Then two, it will try to check the other rules for allocation conditions. Is it fine?
Understood.
Understood? Yeah. So that's the point of partial system success. Okay. So again, date type is whether it's an always or yeah. So it's a full month, and see mostly people we use always as a parameter. Okay, we don't say during this. Okay, any date range, for example, when the system comes in. Okay, maybe so there are some products, okay, seasonal products. That's when you use the date range. Okay, and a specific allocation to a particular customer or any particular attribute you try to figure out. So that time you give a date range for this particular rule. So if this date range is not satisfied, automatically system will go to the next rule. Again, that is subject to how you select the partial success allowed yes or no. Okay, so this takes the precedence. Okay, first you based on the date type, it will validate the date. Okay, and based on the date conditions, it will go. It will decide whether this particular rule strategy the first rule is eligible or not. Okay, then it goes to the rules. It's all in the runtime. It's not. It's just a select statement, but it's all in the runtime how it happens. This particular entire engine. Okay, runtime engine for each order it gets executed in that format. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so we will select always because we don't want any such restrictions, and we have one rule, so we'll just enable it, and it is already saved. Now this rule is assigned to this strategy, FG pick strategy, and we are ready to assign it to the next level, that is rule workbench. So we'll just add a new rule strategy over here. So I'll disable others for now and add our own. So I'll take the sequence, let's say 105, and give our strategy name, that is FG pick strategy. Automatically the org has been populated. This is for W1 org. So now you have other conditions that you can add. If you want this to be success only for some customer, you can add it here as well. Item category, item type, all these things we can add conditions over here. So if you see, we have transaction source also. So suppose we want this to be only success for sales order because this has been written for sales order. So we can add that condition also over here. So I'll just select the sales order, and again the date type as always. You have the transaction types also. So based on your requirement, if you want to add more conditions, this can be done. And then if you enable this uh, and save, so now this rule is assigned to strategy is assigned to workbench, and it should be ready to use. And before that, we need to run one concurrent program, that is generate all rules. Okay, so I'll just without any parameter, you just need to submit this concurrent program, and it should complete in some time. And Maruti wanted to discuss on that rule ID something, right? So let me open that, you can discuss on that. Just FG. Yeah, Selva.
Yeah, sorry. What was that, Anju?
Yeah, you wanted to discuss on the rule ID and custom pub,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Just show the rule ID. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll go to properties and item, and we'll give here.
You have executed. No, have you compiled the rule? Yeah, okay. So
Yes,
the see,
yes.
this is a package that will get uniquely created. Okay. So if there is any reference that you have to do, okay, we can call a custom pub also in here. Custom pub is something wherein you can write the entire package content. Okay, like in expression. So that maybe in next few minutes time I'll explain, or post lunch I'll explain that. So this is that if you want to see this package, you can see this by using this WMS underscore rule underscore 101713 ID. Okay. So every rule will have a unique ID and it will create as a package. Okay. So that package you can see by providing this rule ID. Okay. So each rule will have a unique package. So you can see how the expression has been created as the package. Okay, so that
Hmm.
is one thing. So how what we have written and whether it is in the same hierarchy as what we are expecting. Okay, in the front end. So we can validate it with the technical person if we want further, if we have some issues or we need some other input. Okay, so that is one thing we can do.
Okay.
So this is the rule ID. So this is there is a specific package for this rule ID. Similarly, all rules will have its own package. So I think already in system it starts with one. So now it is almost 10,713. So many. It's a vision instance. So many rules have been created. So many package will exist. Yeah, yeah, Anshuman.
Okay, so I'll close this. I can see the line did not got deleted, so I'll delete that. So one thing we should know that we directly cannot go ahead and disable this because it is already assigned to one or more strategies, and strategies assigned to workbench. So we'll have to go in that manner. So I'll again go to workbench and
Have you explained on the workbench features? Sorry, I was having call.
yeah,
Can you? Yeah, 1 minute.
yeah,
Okay. So in this workbench also, in the strategy, before the strategy is picked, we can have one more condition. Okay, we can say what item category. For example, this is the first leg wherein a particular sales order starts getting allocated. Okay, so first any order, any sales order, once you do a pick release, similarly any put away or all these conditions, this is the first place system will decide how to get it executed. So again, it's based on the sequence. So first it's sequence and whether it's enabled or disabled. So here he has disabled everything. Okay, he has just enabled this strategy because we are trying to do a pick release. So in this case, system will try to fetch the strategy. Okay, in this particular way. For example, if you are giving a specific item, then system will first take this criteria and see which strategy will suit this criteria. Okay, as I told you, even rule we can directly give it here. That's a the return type is rules also. Okay, so here in this case, the way the sequence will work is it will first, if everything is enabled, it will start executing from sequence number 17. Then it will also execute the rules. Okay, so that is subject to the again the select criteria of the sales order. So first is the sales order. Once the sales order is coming, it the system will validate what is that assignment group, item type or order type, or even the item or item category. From that we can fetch it and then select the corresponding strategy. If you have not given everything, okay, in this case the 17 to 24 they have given specific items. So if this item is not there, this WM 226 or 466, if it's not there in that particular sales order, none of the strategy itself will not be called. It will directly, if it's any other item apart from this uh, criteria, it will start executing from 25. Okay,
Yeah.
so 25 to 105 subject to it is enabled. Okay, in that sequence it will start checking. Similarly, you can give some item category. So this is the first select method. Okay, where you can scrutinize the data. Okay, so based on this order or order type or freight code, so whatever is in there in that source ability in the order, so that you can arrest here. Okay, so after that it goes to the strategy, then from the strategy it goes to the rules. Okay, so the rules gets executed one by one based on that sequence what you have defined. So so you can again see here he has given the sales order, right? So if the order type is different, okay, if it's an internal order, or if you go to that, yeah, okay, I'm not able to see. Sorry. Yeah, can you come? Okay, yeah. So based on the order type, whatever order type you have defined, okay. So based on the order type also, you can fetch it. See, not everything is applicable, but in case of pick, only few are applicable. So based on that, or whatever is the internal order or anything. So based on that, you can select this particular uh, strategy. Okay. So these are all again a select criteria where system gives you the flexibility where you can scrutinize the incoming sales order data. Okay, so before sending it, see, even this validation you can write in a rule. Okay, so before going into a rule, we want to scrutinize the data further and then pass it to the rules. That's the only objective. Okay, even if the same thing internal order, we can write as a separate select query or a separate expression or separate parameter level. Say that order type, that parameter we can say equal to internal order. Something we can write it. So it is also possible there, but here we are scrutinizing it much further on the sales order front. There it is more on the on-hand front, but here we are scrutinizing on the order front what all can be achieved. So that is one thing. Yeah. And one more thing, if you can see, many places the rules will be like common to all logs. Okay, I think he forgot to explain that. So that rule will be visible in all the WMS enabled organizations. Okay, when you define that rule as common to all logs, okay, that's when you can show that. Yeah, so that common to all org means it will be visible in all WMS enabled organizations. The top most is there. Okay, this role will get default fetched in all organization and they can use it, but in only in the source you will be able to edit, not in all the locations. Okay, so that restriction will be there, but they will be able to visibility wise and everything we can validate and use it.
If you like our videos, then subscribe to our channel and be a part of the journey with GoLogica and stay connected with the latest videos.